and thank you to Howard for incredibly nice introduction. I'll start in a way repeating a bit of what was said by Howard. Looking at the data sources we're using, we're measuring across 3 media, if you include TV, online, and mobile. We have 7 data sources, and we've got 3 essential sort of measurement methods. We have panel measurement, so we have a national people meter, currency TV panel. We have the Nielsen audio PPM panel measuring out-of-home television. It also has in-home TV, which allows us a good linkage between the out-of-home and the in-home estimate. We have online estimates and mobile estimates coming from panel measurement, but as Howard said, we also have the server data from CN produced by Omniture and Bango. So those are the main measurement pieces, but then there's the duplication part of it as well, where we have an online survey of persons accessing CNN via TV, online or mobile. And this is an important part of this, but we need to have some form of measurement across all of the media, and it's sort of what glues it together in terms of estimating duplication. Now clearly, if you're using a survey, you're going to get survey bias compared with metered data, so there's a lot of calibration work we do to deal with that. So the data sources in summary, and just really looking at the sample sizes there. For the national people meter panel, the NPM, we have about 54,000 persons. Nielsen Audio PPM panel, 50,000. Now you may sometimes see 70,000 for PPM, and the difference there is that we are looking at this across a month, so that CNN can look at their reach across a month, which means we need to unify the sample. So that's why we have a smaller sample than you might otherwise have expected to see. Nielsen Online panel, 200,000. The mobile EMM panel, 6,000. And then the All Media Custom Survey, just 1,000. So the cross-media duplication survey has got a lot to do with those 1,000 respondents. So starting off first of all with the data fusion, fusing the PPM sample to the national people meter, using and I had actually changed this slide because it says industry accepted data fusion methodology, and I didn't want lots of people to throw things at me. And so I was going to say our standard methodology, but I guess the change didn't happen. However, we have used this in the past, and I think the reason we're saying it's industry accepted is because since about 2007, we've been producing data fusions to a standard format, and they have been pretty much widely accepted within the industry, and we have a sort of global business out of data fusion now. So before anybody throws things at me, that's sort of my caveat associated with making that statement. Now, with this data fusion, we're in a good shape. We're in very good shape because we have our PPM data with both in-home viewing and out-of-home. We have a national people meter data with in-home. We have very good demographics, and so a very strong and reliable fusion. And we did a split sample methodology that demonstrated that it's a very, very reliable fusion at measuring the duplication between in-home and out-of-home. At the end of that, we get a single respondent level database with in-home and out-of-home TV viewing. So that's the first step. Then for digital, we have the server data, and we have the panel data. And the panel data gives us demographics, and it gives us a relationship between reach and frequency. The server data also, to an extent, gives us a relationship between reach and frequency, but always with server data, there's the issue of multiple devices and cookie deletion. So we actually looked at probability modeling in 2 different ways, and that actually tied in pretty well. So what we're doing is using the negative binomial distribution, which is a fairly standard approach to this, to calibrate the demographic profiles and the reach to the census estimates. And we do that for both digital and for mobile. And now finally reach estimation, and using the duplication factors developed from the All Media Survey, data source 7. And what I've shown you here is, on the right-hand side, what you would have to do if you didn't do this work. You would have to use random duplication. And if you were to use random duplication, CNN actually might quite like that because it suggests they have 53% reach among 18 pluses. But when we do this, we actually see it's less than that. It's about 45%. And that's because people who are into CNN are likely to use it across multiple devices, which sort of ties in with what Artie has been saying and Alan as well. So that's the value of doing this, of course, is that we know life isn't just random duplication, that there are synergies across media. I'm not going to go through this, not right now. But one thing I would say about working with Turner is one of the best clients to work with because they're so difficult and they give you a really hard time and they want you to validate everything. They really kick the tires, they kick the doors, they kick the whole car. And so we came up with a big checklist here of checks. There's 20 checks within 11 sort of headings there. So a lot of work done to validate and to assure the quality of what we're doing. And so with that, I'll hand back to Howard.
Thanks, Pete. So real quickly, I don't want, when the clock goes off, I get zapped, and I don't like to get zapped. So what are we doing with this? How are we using this data? So the first thing is, we need this data to show advertisers and agencies the true cross-platform breadth of the CNN portfolio. When an agency planner or an agency researcher runs NPower and they say, what's the reach of CNN, sign on to sign off in a month, they get the data on the right, 33 million adults 25-54, our core selling demographic. When we add the out-of-home, turns out that out-of-home adds another 17 million people. So there are 17 million people in the demo who actually watch CNN away from home who right now are not using the brand when they get in-home. It's a sizable audience. Out-of-home gives us the ability to see. And then finally, when we add digital, it's another 12 million. So rather than what NPower says, our belief is that the true cross-platform reach of CNN is 62 million, over 55% of the demo. What we're learning, and I think Artie spoke to this, is platforms affect demographics in a different way, right? So with 25 to 54, we talked about an 88% lift, the total CNN all screen versus just CNN in home. When you look at a younger demo, which is much more likely to touch the brand on digital and especially on mobile, you get 100% lift. So this data gives us the ability, knowing if Aaron's willing to give us the brand target, we're able to then understand really what happens in terms of the way different platforms work together. We're able to use this at the campaign level. So this is actually a campaign for a specific financial services advertiser where, again, what's in NPower in terms of reach and frequency is 11 million on the demo. What's in all screen, when we take into account the out-of-home as well as we take into account the contribution from digital, it's 18 million. So again, significant ability to sort of show, again, from a complementary, unduplicated reach perspective, how TV and home and out-of-home and digital will all work together. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we also use this data. We've used this for a couple of years to talk about our major sports franchises. One of the things, actually, Artie, you'll be pleased to know that Jay Leon always talked about the 7 cell only both. Now we have to now match the 32 cell, I guess, Cameron. But here's a view of last year's NCAA tournament where there's both a significant amount of people who who touch the tournament across multiple screens, but there's also a fairly big universe of 7.5 million people who touch the tournament on anything but in-home television. So you think about that from the perspective of the way we think about planning media. So what are we doing with all-screen in the market? And two major things to talk about. First, we're using all-screen, as I described, so we could go to advertisers and really talk about the true cross-platform footprint of CNN. An immediate focus is to use all-screen to shed light on the significant out-of-home TV audience that we actually deliver right now to advertisers. You're all getting it for free today. So for instance, we've baked into our sales plans estimates of out-of-home TV audience. So anytime a planner sees a sales plan, they're seeing something that says, we're estimating 20% more delivery than what TV and home GRPs deliver. We've also taken the step to actually include out-of-home TV in our MSA post buys so that we're actually able to show for a specific campaign exactly what was delivered. We want to make sure that there's market acceptance of this. One of the things we're in discussions with is with the MRC about potential review of the methodology. Let them look at Pete's checklist to make sure he's doing it the way he says and that it's accurate. And one of the things I think, the last point, I think we all need to understand that over the next couple of years, we're going to need to be flexible with our intentions. We went into Allscreen thinking that the cross-platform campaign measurement was an important component. We've learned because of market acceptance of things like XCR, that part's no longer important. But we're not done, and by no means do we think Allscreen is perfect, and there are a lot of places from a methodological standpoint or an analytic system perspective we want to improve. The two big things from a methodological perspective is finding a way, even though we use our server data, there's still a dramatic difference in reach for PC, for digital and mobile relative to what we know. We need to find a way to make that work better. Obviously, we'd love to move beyond using a survey to estimate duplication. But then the last part is getting this data into a smart, easy sales planning system so our sales planners, before they're going to Aaron, they could use easy analytics and smart ideas to be able to put together the ultimate sales plan. So thanks for your time and attention, and I look forward to the Q&A.